Hi, my name is Tizini. So today I'm going to talk about La Conciergerie, which is located in Paris. During the French Revolution in 1793 and 1794, there are 2,780 people were sentenced to death and detained in La Conciergerie. They then left in an open cart towards Place de la Concorde, where they were beheaded.
I'm Leung Chi-man. Marie Antoinette, Queen of France since 1774 and sister of King of Austria, was studied among them.
May, La Conciergerie deserves a visit for its history and Gothic architecture, with two superb halls built between 1302 and 1313. Its beautiful facade on the Seine River bank is a vibrant legacy of the Middle.
Hi, my name is Tizini. I'm going to talk about a brief history of La Conciergerie. As we know, La Conciergerie is an ancient building which located in France. It's a monument on Ile de la Cité in Paris. La Conciergerie is located on an important site which once formed the seat of the city's Roman leaders during their occupation of Gaul. La Conciergerie itself originally formed part of 13th century palace of French king, the royal palace built by King Philip IV. It served this role until the 1350s, when the French royals moved to the Louvre. As it ceased being used as a royal residence, La Conciergerie became the site where judicial functions were carried out, a purpose which parts of the palace still fulfill today. From 1391, La Conciergerie's judicial function took on a different character as it was transformed into a prison. Thus, it remained for centuries, playing its sinister role during the French Revolution as the home of the ominous Revolutionary Tribunal, which sent thousands of prisoners to the guillotine. In the course of the revolution, La Conciergerie held over 1,000 prisoners at any given time. Some of the most famous inmates at La Conciergerie included Francois Ravaillac, the assassin of King Henry IV, imprisoned there in 1610. Revolutionaries Georges Danton and Maximilien Robespierre, and most prominently Queen Marie Antoinette, each was then executed. Visitors to La Conciergerie can enjoy both its impressive medieval architecture, such as its large hall of the men-at-arms, and its history, both royal and as an instrument of punishment. Its original torture chambers can still be viewed.
Hi, I'm Leung Chi-man. La Conciergerie has been the central seat of authority and justice in Paris for almost 1,000 years. It has a rich history, and its ancient halls have seen countless games of power played out within them over the centuries. The architecture who involved in reconstruction of La Conciergerie as Salmon de Brose and Jacques Gabriel. The building of La Conciergerie was built in Gothic architecture, a style that was quite famous in that era. La Conciergerie is a monument on Ile de la Cité in Paris. It was the place of French kings from the 10th to 14th century under Saint Louis and Philippe the Fair. The early king continued to improve the place in the 14th century, but Charles V abandoned the place in 1358, moving across the river to the Louvre. The place continued to serve an administration function and still include the chancellery and French parliament. In 1391, part of the building was converted for use as prison and took its name from the ruling office. Around more than 2,600 criminals and political prisoners, including the infamous Queen of France, Marie Antoinette, were detained there before they were beheaded due to death sentence they received. Some other prominent figures who were sentenced to death in the prison were Madame du Barry, Carole Corday, and Andrew Chanel. The notable addition made by King Louis IX is the famous Sainte-Chapelle and some galleries associated with the chapel. The chapel was intended to serve as royal chapel, so that it was built in the French royal style. Meanwhile, King Philip IV created the large hall and the facade along the river. The grand hall of the place was recorded as the large hall in the Europe at the time. The hall could hold the 2,000 staff full work in the place. Its unique section, a lower story which is known as La Scène de Gendarme, still survives until now in 64 meter times 27.5 meter times 88.5 meter dimension. The cathedral was decommissioned in 1914 and was opened to the public as National Historical Monument. It is today a popular tourist attraction, although the only relatively small part of the building is open to public access. Much of it is still used for Paris law courts. Thank you.
Maria Antoinette's cell was reconstructed half on the site of the actual cell that the Queen occupied and half of the adjacent West Bay. A privacy screen separated her from the guards who watched over her. On the first floor, in the first room on the left, the list of the prisoners held on Conciergerie who were decapitated is displayed. The prisoners' quarters reproduce the various cells as they were during the Revolution. The cell of the palace for the pistoliers and finally the cell for prominent figures. In the adjacent rooms, documents, engravings and signed texts relate 5.5 centuries of prison life at the Conciergerie. A virtual governor, the concierge, a function created in the 14th century, was in charge of the security and supplies for the prison. The condemned would pass through the Sala de la Toilette, where they were stripped of their personal belongings before they were taken to the main courtyard to wait for the cart that would take them to the site of the execution of their sentence. The little royal chapel, called the Girondist Chapel, already existed in the Middle Age and was restored and remodeled in 1776. It is generally believed that this is where the 21st Girondist deputies waited for their death on the night of the 19th and 30th of October 1793. The Maria Antoinette Chapel was built according to the wishes of the Louis XVIII on the very side of the Queen's cell, which was divided by a wall. The west half was connected to the chapel by a room where the Robespierre is believed to have spent the last hour of his life. Surrounded by cells offering varying degrees of comfort according to the financial resources of the prisoners, stand to the women's courtyard, which still contains the fountain where the women wash their clothing, one of the stone table on which they ate, and the corner of the 12, where the men could converse with them through the gates. The prisoners' hallway was the principal exit of the prison, in which prisoners could come and go as they pleased. The office of the clerk of the court is the reproduction of the room where the names of the prisoners were recorded in the registry upon their arrival.